thought it'd be helpful. I've got the Scrambler 1200 here. This is a 1200 XE, and thought it'd be helpful for a windscreen installation video. I haven't seen one of these on YouTube yet. So just to give you a little quick heads up, there are 2 brackets that come with the kit. You order this straight from Triumph. It's about 150 bucks. The screen's about 95, and then the actual kit itself comes with a series of bolts and these 2 brackets, and then the screen. If you are curious, this can be bought at Tour Tech. Cruise Tools makes a great Triumph specific road kit for tools with all the necessary Allen wrenches, and Triumph has a little bit of a weird configuration. So this is like a Triumph specific tools, pretty much everything you'd need out on the road. So I'm using this as my main toolkit because if it works here, it works on the road, right? So you need to disconnect the headlight. There are 2 bolts here and here in order to do that, and then there's 1 space. I've already got this bracket mounted on. It feels a little bit loose. The bracket's nice and snug, but this rotates until you put the headlight back on. There are 2 bolts. One way towards the back. This one is quite challenging to get in. It's going to take you some time, especially if you just have a regular Allen wrench. And then there's one here in the front as well. So once you get these on, actually I could probably tighten that front one a little bit more. You can see that rotating just a tad. This one's challenging, but a little bit easier. The second set, there's a bracket that's holding these wires back already. And here you can see that there is a bolt towards the back, which needs to come out first. And that's what I'm working on now, actually. And then there's a piece of wire right here that will just pop completely out once that bolt is gone. And then you follow the same process here. What's convenient about these bracket pieces is they do have a wire holder already bracketed on the edge of the bracket there. So you just bolt this other one on, and the screen goes on. So I'm going to do a little work and wrench this out. Once I get it in place with the front bolt, which seems to be the easiest, I'll turn the camera back on and show you how I put in that back bolt. So anyway, signing off. So after a little bit of time, I did finally pull out that screw. I'm just working with standard Allen wrenches here. Actually, they're metric Allen wrenches because this is a British bike, but this piece was in here holding up these wires. This little lip was down into this hole. Once you get this back screw out, literally just this thing just pops out. So I wanted to show you sort of what that looks like. And then you're just fitting in the next little piece. This is my clutch lever. You can see actually it's already taking a bit of a beating. I wonder if I'll just tape that up with a little electrical tape before we get going again. Yeah, this project, you know, looks like it should be pretty straightforward, but because of the reach of these bolts here, and because you just don't have a whole lot of room, it's difficult. Anyway, so after a bit of tape on that clutch cable, I now have fit the bracketed piece around the wires. Did the same thing on this side just to hold everything back. And now, if you can see, essentially what I'm doing here is I've now got to line up those holes there in order to place these bolts. This first screw in, I actually just kind of maneuvered that thing around. I had it caught on something, and then it shook loose and made it a bit easier. Super beneficial to actually hand tighten those screws before you get the Allen wrench to them. You want to really eliminate as many turns as possible. And then down here I'm just using a little bit of blue Loctite just to keep these things in place once they go in. Anyway, I don't even know really how well this camera work is going to be. 2 brackets on, 1 and 2. Now it's just a matter of putting my headlight back on, lining up this hole with this one here. This should be a pretty easy reinstall. and I'll get back to you once I start figuring out exactly how to put this windscreen on the bike. Light reinstalled. That was, again, pretty simple and straightforward. Threw a little Loctite on those bolts just to make sure they don't rattle out in case I goofed somehow. But yeah, here's my bracketing. It doesn't feel as strong maybe as it could be on the back there, but we're gonna run with it. This one a little sturdier than that one. Quite frankly, I don't feel like taking the light off. So actually at high speeds, yeah, this is lesson learned, right? Turn it at the extra couple of cranks to really rip it down. So I'm gonna pull the headlight back off, get back. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but for this bracket, there are 4 provided Triumph quality well nuts. And it took me a minute to figure out how this is supposed to work, but I went online, I found the manual for all of the Flyscreens for all the Triumph models, and it literally says just fit the well nuts into these holes, line up the screen, and then just screw them down. So I'm going to do that real quick and see how that's supposed to work. It seems like it would just be able to pull right out because there's really not a whole lot holding these well nuts in, other than just a little bit of friction. The well nuts are made of rubber, or the outside coating is rubber. So anyway, we'll see. So the screen is on. I didn't really understand how a well nut worked, but now I know. So you fit the well nuts. You can see they're sitting as a washer right behind the screen there. Sorry for the glare if that's bad, but you can see that well nut sitting back there. The way that this fitment works is you actually have to press against the back of the well nut. So I'm coming around back here. Hopefully you can see that. You have to press on the back of the well nut pretty hard, and then torque down this fitment right here. What happens with that well nut, since it's rubber, is it actually swells up on the back end, and then creates a nice seal that's gonna keep any sort of vibrations or rattles from happening. So this is cranked down. I didn't really actually read. It says fitment to 1.5. I guess it was, I don't know, Newmans or something. But anyway, it feels pretty secure right here on the front. And this was just me hand cranking it with a tiny little Allen wrench. So it is possible. You can purchase this for 150 bucks. It does suggest, the product does suggest that you take it to Triumph or your dealer and let them do it, but you can actually do it by hand. Also, you can Google this manual, and you can find this Flyscreen installation. There's a shorter Flyscreen for this motorcycle. This is the tallest one that they offer, and so I just went ahead and went for it. It was on back order for a couple of months, and finally came in. But yeah, this is my Scrambler 1200 XE. It has been, as you can see, tested quite a bit. I just got back from the Pine Barrens over the weekend, and those guys down there are pretty fabulous in what they do. Those guys are the Pine Barrens Adventure Camp, so we are off-road with this thing, and there will be more videos from this bike to come, but this is sort of the first look and the first installation. I hadn't actually seen an installation of this part before, so that's why I figured I would go ahead and it'd be a good idea to post this video. So I'm signing off for now, and subscribe. There will be stuff, I'll be taking stuff off this bike, repainting it, cleaning things up. I'm gonna do a modification here. It's coming up soon with this radiator guard. Just quite frankly, it needs a spacer up here on this top bolt and down here on this bottom bolt, because the even though the dirt kind of cakes up and you can flake it off like this, it gets stuck down here, and so it doesn't free up the radiator at all. My bike overheated twice this weekend, so I'm going to put 2 spacers down to give this thing a little bit of chance to free the dirt from inside. So anyway, this is Hatch signing off.